Who won Israel's elections yesterday? Nobody. Will this result in a national unity government? Will it result in yet another round of elections? Nobody knows right now. The one thing we do know is that the prophecies pertaining to the future of Israel will be fulfilled. Well, there's so many things to talk about. We're going to be breaking down the Israeli elections that were held yesterday for you during this program. We're going to be talking about how we get from where we are politically to where the Bible says we're going prophetically. However, before we go to there, I want to remind you once again of our brand new wonderful product, Revelation, the Unveiling of Jesus Christ, Volume 1. And we're still running our pre-order special. It won't last much longer, so you might want to jump in today. Here's what it's all about. During the month of September, you can pre-order Revelation, the Unveiling of Jesus Christ, and receive over $580 in bonus items that will ship to you immediately. These bonus items include Lesson 1 DVD of this brand new series, a limited edition Final 7 Years Certified Silver Coin. This is the Final 7 Years coin minted by Endtime Ministries. Most people have given a gift of $500 to receive this coin. You're going to get it as part of the pre-order package. The book Skin Deep about the Mark of the Beast. The miracle called Endtime DVD, telling the story of all the miracles God has done to bring Endtime from its beginning until right now. ISIS in Bible Prophecy, that DVD. The Understand the Endtime Introduction DVD. So all those things are bonus items. Your cost for Revelation Volume 1 and the $580 worth of bonus items is only $334. You get the Revelation, which is 10 DVDs plus a hardback book written by myself, and then you get all those bonus items. The Revelation is set to ship on October the 14th of 2019, so just a little ways away. This pre-order special goes until October the 1st. Okay, now there's only 500 of these bonus offers available, so call or go online immediately. You can either do it online by going to endtime.com/rev, R-E-V, or call 1-800-363-8463. So that's endtime.com/REV or 1-800-ENDTIME. So the Revelation is a revolutionary understanding of the book of Revelation, never published before. Okay, well, we're going to get right into it. Benjamin Netanyahu is planning on pursuing a unity government with the blue and white, at least according to this one particular report. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will push for blue and white to join a national unity government led by him, sources close to Netanyahu said Wednesday following a meeting of the Likud. Now, this comes to us from the Jerusalem Post. The sources who participated in the closed-door meeting said Netanyahu would publicly pursue a coalition with all of blue and white, though his private preference would be that Benny Gantz break up his blue and white party and join without Yesh Atid. Likud MKs said that Netanyahu asked to not discuss his tactics for building a coalition, but MKs said they have received an impression that he would agree to a rotation in the prime minister's office with Gantz as long as Netanyahu goes first. Okay, let's pause just a moment. What's this all about? Well, we're going to disclose to you who got what votes in just a moment. But the reason that Netanyahu's already considering a national unity government is because the Likud party, Netanyahu's party, and the blue and white party both got the same number of votes. Now, 95% of the vote count is now in. It's not final, but it appears that Likud and blue and white got the same amount of votes each. That means Netanyahu's the leader of the Likud and Gantz is the leader of the blue and white party. So when Netanyahu proposes a national unity government, he's doing this, but he's wanting to be the first prime minister. The way a national unity government works is they will, since it's a partnership between the two major parties, one party supplies the prime minister for the first half of the term. The next party supplies the prime minister for the next half of the term. Now, that's the way it's been done before, and that apparently is what is being proposed again. The results of Tuesday's elections, pending the uncounted votes of IDF soldiers and diplomats, gave blue and white 33 seats, Labor Gesher 6, and many others. Okay, the Likud party got 32 seats. So that's what we're looking at right now. Stay with us. We're going to break this all down in detail and let you know what it all means prophetically.
We've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Endtime Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. We will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now. Visit endtime.com.
Have you had a longing to visit the cities where Jesus healed, ministered, and taught every day? Judy and I would like to invite you to travel to the wonderful land of Israel. Experience the Word of God in vivid color while walking down the roads of the Holy Land with us.
When you are ready to experience Israel, we recommend you travel with Endtime Ministries. You will not only experience historical and present-day Israel, you will also learn about the prophesied future to come. It's as if we traveled back in time to visit a different era and discovered ourselves in an ancient time. The tour is very well organized, the accommodations are first class, and the food is delicious. If you have ever had a desire to visit Israel, there is no better time than now. Anne from Colorado.
To sign up to receive your Experience Israel 2019 packet, call Adrian or Jana at 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com. We can't wait to experience Israel with you.
Well, just to show you how difficult Israeli politics is, there are 8 parties that won seats in the Israeli Knesset. The Israeli Knesset is made up of 120 seats. In order to put together a government, you have to control 61 of those seats. But the 2 major parties only obtained 33 and 32 seats apiece. So whichever side is going to end up electing the prime minister, they're going to have to build a coalition with some of the other parties. Normally the parties are considered either right-wing or left-wing, conservative or liberal. So now then the fun begins, the negotiation begins. I want to give you a breakdown of how the votes actually fell. Now these are the parties that will align with the blue and white party, at least we think, unless they get a better offer from the other side. So the blue and white party, the Liberal Party, they ended up so far, even though the votes are not totally accounted for yet, there's 5% of the votes yet to go. They ended up with 33 seats. The Labor Gesher Party, 6 seats. The Democratic Union, 5 seats. So when you add those things together, those 3 parties together, you get 44 seats. That's not close to 61. However, if you add in the Arab parties who got 12 seats, now you move from 44 to 56. Okay, 56, you still got to have 5 more votes to put together a government. And that's just to narrowly put together a government of 61. Now, the Likud party, they had 32 votes. Shah's party, 9. The United Torah Judaism, 8. Yamina party, 7. So when you add all these together, you get 56 votes. But notice, the party of Gantz has to bring the Arab faction in. The Arabs scored very big. So they got 12 seats. The Arabs have never been counted in the coalition because they wanted Israel to be a Jewish state. So the Arabs have never been a part of the putting together a government, but they could be if they chose to. Many of the Arabs are saying, no, thank you. On the other hand, there's a few of the more modern Arabs that are saying, we may decide we want to be a part of it. So even with the joint list, which is the Arab list, and they're 12 votes, that's a big block of votes, still the blue and white party only gets to 56. So now we've got the Likud party with its coalition partners at 56. We've got the blue and white party at 56. Well, then, as we continue on here, we're going to see that there's one party we're not accounting for right now, and that's the Israel Beitenu party. That's Lieberman's party. Well, Avigdor Lieberman is the guy that everybody thought would do what he had always done in the April elections and be with Benjamin Netanyahu, but he decided, no, I'm not. That kept Netanyahu from being able to form a government back in April of 2019. So here we are again, and again, Avigdor Lieberman has said, I will not serve with the religious parties that are the parties of the Likud party. I will not do that. I'm tired of them controlling the nation. They only have 15% of the population, and yet they mandate that we cannot go to a store or a restaurant on Saturday. None of the public transportation can run on Saturday. I'm tired of that. It's not freedom. It's not democracy. It is a theocracy. So he said, I will not serve in any government where the hard religious right serves. And yet I don't want to serve with all of these liberals. So he's sitting here with his 8. Now his 8, if you count the Arab parties, could put the blue and white over the top and allow them to form the government. Or his 8 with the Likud party could also put the Likud over the top and they would be able to form a government. But he's saying, unless you do it my way, I am not going to give our votes to either side. So here we sit. Now, what Lieberman wants to happen, he wants the Likud party to shun the religious parties, to form a national unity government with the blue and white, but he wants the Likud to kick Netanyahu out the side door, which they really don't want to do because he's been their leader for the last 10 years and one of the most powerful prime ministers Israel has ever had. So here Lieberman is saying, I want a national unity government with the Likud and red and white and my party together. We would have a strong government with over 70 seats, and we would be able to do a lot of the things that need to be done for the nation of Israel. So in the meantime, Gantz is insisting on a unity government with the Likud, but not with Netanyahu, which would be easier to accomplish if Netanyahu first tried to form a government and failed. Okay, let's get this picture, because this is all the political infighting that's going on in Israel today, right now. It's happening. So if Netanyahu goes first and can't put together a government, then President Rivlin is going to turn to Gantz and say, okay, it's your turn to try. However, the Environmental Protection Minister, Ze'ev Elkin, has advised Netanyahu to try to get the mandate to form a government second and sit back and watch Gantz fail first. Now, Gantz does not want to form a coalition with the Arab parties. Nobody's ever done it before, and many of the Israeli people would not care for that at all. But he's trying to put together a government. So if he tries and he fails, and then it's hiked to Netanyahu. Well, he knows he's got 56 votes that are loyal to him from the very beginning. Now he may move over and try to get the Labor Party or one of the other smaller parties to come over. He may promise them powerful cabinet positions. He may promise them quite a lot of perks that he would have the power to do in order to get him over the 61 votes that he needs to put together the government. So that's where everything is right now. Or else, after trying for a while, he may say to Gantz, we want you to come over, but we do not want, a Tayyid party. We don't want them because they are so abhorrent to what we believe. So anyway, it's very difficult. The last possibility, that neither side can put together a government and we go back to elections again. Could it be? Now, in the meantime, Netanyahu is facing going before the Attorney General of Israel in 2 weeks, at which time the Attorney General, Vanderbilt, is going to tell him, I intend to indict you for corruption. And Netanyahu claims that he can refute those things because up till now he's never been given the chance to answer for himself. He says there's nothing there. If he can change Vanderbilt's mind and then he's exonerated of these charges, then it would probably be to his advantage to go back to elections again, because undoubtedly these charges pending against him influence some of the Israeli public to vote for the other side, because this cloud of corruption was hanging over his head. So you can see that Israel is here treading water. All right, now I want to continue on here because there's all kinds of things that are developing as we move forward. I want to go on down in our article, and I want you to see what's getting ready to happen now in an effort to keep any of his parties from having offers from the Blue and White Party. He quickly called a meeting together of the right-wing factions, and he did this the day after, which was Wednesday. The vote was on Tuesday. He quickly did this and got all of them to agree that they would vote as a solid block and that he would be their representative. This was his effort to keep Gantz from calling some of these other parties, saying, hey, if you'll side with us, we'll give you chairmanships, we'll give you cabinet positions, we'll give you a lot of power, we'll agree to the different conditions of your particular party. And so in order to head that off, Netanyahu quickly called a meeting of all the factions. They all attended, and they all agreed that they would negotiate in solidarity, and Netanyahu would be their spokesperson. So Netanyahu warned at this Likud faction meeting that if he does not form the next government, Israel will be led by a coalition reliant on the joint list. Now remember, the joint list, that's the Arabs. I mean, those are the people that represent the Arabs, many of whom are terrorists. So many of the Jews do not want to be associated with them. Nevertheless, the blue and white, they're desperate to put together a government. And now there's a new leader of the Arabs. His name is Odeh. And he says, we might be willing to serve in a government with the Israelis, because already you do know that the Arabs have, well, they're going to have 11 or 12 seats in the new Israeli Knesset if a government, in fact, is formed, because they just won the election. There are 1.6 million Arabs in Israel. They came out in force for these elections, and consequently, they now control 11 or 12 seats in the new Israeli Knesset. So that's a lot of power that they can add to the blue and white party. Now, I'll ask this question. Is there a chance that Netanyahu could call them and say, hey, you know I endorsed the two-state solution many years ago, back in 2009, my speech at Bar-Ilan University, and you know that President Trump has already put together a peace plan that will give you your own nation. You will become a nation recognized by the world. You'll be a part of the United Nations. And I've already got the map. And he could talk to them. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but he could talk to them and say, I'm going to put together a government. I'd like for you to join my government. Now, in order to do that, though, he's going to have to forsake his hardline religious groups who do not want to negotiate any of the land away. Now, again, I'm speculating right now, but Netanyahu did say during the last week or two of the campaign, we are going to nationalize the Jordan Valley. They've controlled the Jordan Valley since 1967. So here we are 50-some years later, and they've not nationalized, but he says, I'm going to nationalize the Jordan Valley, and furthermore, we're not going to allow one settlement to come under Palestinian control. Now, the settlements are scattered out throughout the West Bank, the area called Judea Samaria. And Naftali Bennett claims that he got a hold of a copy of that map to work all that out. And he published it. It showed up in all the news sources, the Jerusalem Post and other places. And it shows that each of the settlements, there's going to be a road leading to them and probably a wall built around them. But then their territories are going to be totally surrounded by Palestinian territory. On the map, all the Palestinian controlled area is in black, and the places that are going to be settlements are in white. And so you see this huge black area encompassing most of the West Bank, and then you see these little dots with a road leading to them all over. Well, Naftali Bennett published this map, hoping to bring votes away from Likud toward his Yamina party. Now, we don't know that he was successful because Yamina only received 7 seats in the Knesset as a result of these elections. But how many people did that cause to stay at home? How many people who live out there in the West Bank said, I don't want to vote for that if that's what Netanyahu is planning? In the meantime, Netanyahu said that these plans that I'm telling you about do not contradict President Trump's deal of the century. So Netanyahu's already seen this plan, and every move he was taking with Trump's approval. But now, let's say that Netanyahu doesn't put a government together. He is no longer prime minister. Let's say he's indicted 2 weeks from now by Attorney General Vanderbilt. And let's say that the Likud party says we cannot have a leader who's under indictment for these charges. And let's say they pick a new leader to lead the Likud. And then let's say we're thrown into new elections again. We don't know how this is going to work out, but let's say somehow that Gantz becomes the next prime minister. Could Trump work with him? Well, yeah, because Gantz has already said he's for a two-state solution. He wouldn't be fighting against it at all. He might be easier to work with than Netanyahu, even though I think Netanyahu had already seen the plan and was pretty well agreeing with the whole plan. Okay, what's all this got to do with Bible prophecy? All of this is leading to the time. Now, remember the map I told you about? Talking about the West Bank, almost all under the control of the Palestinians, except for all these little settlement enclaves. What does the Bible say? When Jesus was speaking about the area of Judea in Matthew 24, verse 15, Jesus said, "When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso reads, let him understand. Then let those of you who live in Judea flee for your life." If you're on your housetop, don't even come down to get your clothes. If you're out in the field, don't return back to grab your billfold. Hit the ground running. Why? Because then will be great tribulation, such as never been before, nor ever again shall be. So if this map were accepted, I'm talking about Trump's map now, if it were accepted, it would be the perfect scenario for all those Jews out there. 3.5 years, it seems like everything's going okay. Then all of a sudden, something ignites Palestinian anger, and they make their attacks, and the Jews have to flee out of Judea. This happens halfway through the final 7 years. It looks to me like the map that I saw. I actually have a copy of it here on my computer. Perhaps we'll be able to supply that to you sometime yet this week. So the map that I saw looks like to me that it perfectly fulfills the prophecy of Jesus Christ. Now, will Trump release his plan? He's going to release it. Some people thought he would do it the day after the elections. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it'll be done once the government is put together. I don't know. But supposedly Trump's going to release his plan very shortly. So I don't know exactly when that's going to be. It may be tomorrow, the next day. It may be a week from now. It may be when the new government is sworn in. I do not know. But once we know that, if Trump's plan contains the conditions described in the Bible, then you and I will enter the final 7 years, the day they reach agreement on the Middle East peace plan. Will it be a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now? I can't tell you for sure, but we're simply that close to the beginning of the final 7 years. Okay, if you're not yet a partner with Endtime Ministries, get on board. We're getting ready to rumble. We're getting ready to go.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at Endtime will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
If ever people needed to hear the unvarnished truth, it is now. There are some subjects that are not politically correct to talk about, but they're urgent. That's why I'm grateful for Endtime magazine. If you're not a subscriber, you're missing information that will impact your life. Endtime has a bi-monthly magazine that explains how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. You can get a 2-year subscription for only $29. You can also get a bulk subscription and pass them out to your church. We have gotten reports that Endtime magazine has caused spiritual awakenings in churches when they see the prophecies being fulfilled right now. You can start your own ministry and leave them in doctor's offices, libraries, laundromats. You never know if you might be responsible for saving someone who is searching for the unvarnished truth. That's what the magazine has done in many lives. Call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463 and get your subscription today.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
We are going to be taking your calls in this segment of the program, so you can start dialing right now. The number to call to be on the air with me, 877-END-TIME, 877-363-8463. So you can go ahead and dial. Now, if you'd like to reach our operators, that number is 1-800-END-TIME. Let me remind you again of our pre-order special. We've been working on this Revelation commentary now for 3 years. It's gorgeous. people are oohing and awing over it. I mean, the book, the hardback book, contains not only the explanations in writing, but different pictures, illustrations. I think you're going to love it. Anyway, if you'd like to pre-order during the month of September, which is clicking right along here, you can pre-order Revelation, the unveiling of Jesus Christ, and you will receive $580 worth of bonus items. And we'll ship those to you immediately. These bonus items include a limited edition Final 7 Years silver coin. That's the one that we had offered for a $500 donation. Well, we're throwing this into the introduction offer for the new product, Revelation. So you'll get that. You'll get the book Skin Deep on the Mark of the Beast. You'll receive the Miracle Called Endtime DVD, ISIS and Bible Prophecy DVD, Understand the Endtime Introduction DVD, the Miracle Called Endtime DVD. You'll get all those things shipped to you immediately, and then just as quickly as we have them in hand, you'll go ahead and receive your 10 DVDs plus hardback book in a beautiful package. Nothing like it anywhere in the world. And you're going to love it. People are already just absolutely loving it. So anyway, you can do that right now. If you'd like to talk to someone about that, call us. Our operators will explain everything to you. 800-ENDTIME is the number to call. Or if you'd simply like to go ahead and pre-order, just go to endtime.com/rev. And you can pre-order right now. We are tremendously excited about this product. We think it's going to be a world-changing product, and that's what's available to you. Okay, now, before we come to the phones, I want to go back to something I did not get to in our last segment, but we were talking about how a majority could be put together. Now, the blue and white, if they had both the Joint List and Avigdor Lieberman's party, then they would have 64 seats. They could put together a government. One big problem. Avigdor Lieberman has said that he would not be in any government with the Joint List. He's not going to be in a government that is supported by the Arab parties. So he won't do it. So they can't get that. So there's no road for Gantz to put together a government unless Avigdor Lieberman changes his mind some way, somehow. Now he says the government I want is a unity government between the Likud party and the blue and white party and our party. We got plenty of votes to put that together, but he said, I don't want Netanyahu involved. Well, now that Netanyahu's already pulled all of his people together and they've all said, we're with you, we're behind you. If we go into a unity government, you're going to be our representative. So you can see that it's just a deadlock every way we turn. Okay, I think it's time to go to the phones now. And our first caller is Jim in the truck somewhere. Hello, Jim.
Hey, praise the Lord, everybody. Irvin, how you doing? I am excited about this. What do you think the best case scenario for Trump's plan to work is? What do you see as that being the solution for this? Because we've been waiting for years for this to happen. I mean, we've seen it come here, and we thought it might be here, but I believe this is it. So what do you think about that, Irvin?
Well, Jim, you got to get rid of your strong religious party that will not under any condition agree to trade land for peace. So they've got to be out of the government equation, because as long as they can bring your government toppling down, you can't make a peace deal. You cannot sign up for Trump's deal. So that means to me that there's apparently going to be a coalition government, a national coalition formed. Whether it's now or whether there will be new elections, I tend to think it's now. I think that somehow there's going to be some smoke-filled back rooms where negotiations are taking place, and Netanyahu looks at some of his former partners and said, I love you, but I can't stand you, and I've got to have this, we've got to put this together. Furthermore, Netanyahu has a lot at stake. Let's say they put together a deal within the next week, and let's say that it's a coalition deal and that Netanyahu then becomes the first prime minister for the first 2 years, and then Gantz is going to be the prime minister for the last 2 years. That gives Netanyahu 2 years to pass, well, he would do it right away, to pass a vote that would declare that a sitting prime minister cannot be indicted. That's one of the votes they want to pass. I think that that's true here in America, that a sitting president cannot be indicted. The only way you can get rid of a sitting president is to impeach him, but you cannot indict him. Well, they're wanting to pass that kind of a law in Israel. Well, that will protect Netanyahu. If Netanyahu won a 4-year term, then that means he would be protected from all of these allegations for the next 4 years. That's what he was hoping for. However, since he's not able to put together a right-wing government, at least so far he's not been able to, maybe he can reach over and convince one of the small parties with 6 or 7 votes, or maybe he can strike a deal with Lieberman, and maybe he can say to Lieberman, look, I'll strike a deal with you because that's all he needs. He only needs Lieberman's 8 votes, and he's got a government. Maybe he could say to Lieberman, I'll be prime minister the first 2 years, you be prime minister the next 2. And in the meantime, we'll pass a law that'll save me from these frivolous charges. And that's what Netanyahu says they are. I don't know what they are. Anyway, that's one of the possibilities, Jim, and we're just speculating right now. Here's what we know. We know there's going to be a peace deal. It looks like this is the deal, but we don't even know that for sure. But there's going to be a peace deal, and it's going to put the settlers in Judea under danger. We know that. And Naftali Bennett, who is in the Yamina party, he was showing this everywhere, saying, look what Netanyahu is going to do to us. We are going to be endangered. You're going to be surrounded by Palestinians that hate you. And so the deal is going to put the settlers who live out there in Judea in danger. It's also, though, going to put the Temple Mount under a sharing arrangement. Now, let's say that Trump pops the lid on his agreement, and suddenly the religious find out, hey, we're going to be able to build our temple. We're going to be able to reinstall all of our rabbis, all of our priests. We're going to be able to resume animal sacrifices. That's going to be a big carrot that's going to be hard for them to resist. Or let's say they're not in power anymore, and yet Gantz or Netanyahu would say to them, look, we're not selling you out. You're going to get to build your temple. But we've got a big problem here because we've got now more Arabs living in the Holy Land than we do Jews. And if we don't separate from them, they're going to end up voting one of these days, and we're going to have an Arab prime minister of Israel. And none of us can stand that. So there's a lot of moving parts in all of this. But we know when the deal is finally signed, there's going to be the sharing of the Temple Mount, the building of a temple. The Bible explicitly states these things. But the settlers are going to be left out there vulnerable to attack, which will then happen 3.5 years later. Jerusalem is going to remain under Israeli control, but with objection. It will be left under Israeli control for a while until the Battle of Armageddon. So those are the things that we know.
Wow, it's just very exciting. We know the Lord is going to have His will done through all this, but how it's going to play out is still a mystery. It's very exciting. But Irvin, thanks a lot. You have a blessed day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. One other thing I want to add that nobody's talking about much. Lieberman wants freedom of religion in Israel. There's not really freedom of religion now. They try to stop the spread of Christianity every way they can, and other religions as far as that's concerned. He's saying, look, if we're going to be a true democracy, we've got to have freedom of religion. What would that do to our ability to evangelize the Jewish people? Remember, there's a great revival coming. 144,000 out of the nation of Israel will be sealed. A great revival is coming. Would the victory of Avigdor Lieberman opened the door. I was chuckling to myself because Lieberman said, look, I'm not anti-religious. My wife keeps kosher. My daughter keeps kosher. They're religious. And he said, I respect that, so I eat kosher when I'm at home. He said, then when I'm out, I eat whatever tastes good. So I couldn't help but laugh to myself, because if you're not adjusted to Israeli food, sometimes it does not taste good. I found some things I like, but many things I don't like because they have to keep these kosher laws that keep them from enjoying many things that taste really good. So anyway, so Lieberman said, you're going to be able to eat wherever you want to eat. You're going to be able to shop when you want to shop. Public transportation is going to be wide open. So could this be a sea change in the Israeli nation, preparing Israel for this great revival? It looks like to me that's what we're seeing here right now. So amazing things. Let's see. Let's get back to the phones. Julia's calling from Tennessee. Hello, Julia.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I've been listening to you for a long time. And I want to God bless you for being on the air and getting God's word out as far as you can. And I hope there's a lot of people listening out there. I just want to ask. I just now started paying attention more and more, and I'm so confused about what's going on in Israel, and I just want to know. I know my husband, we've been excited about the peace treaty being signed, and we've been paying close attention. And I'm just wondering how far do you think that might be, and is it going to be Netanyahu or somebody else that's going to be able to get in and get that done?
You know, Julia, God puts in place whoever he wants to put in place. And we know there's going to be a peace agreement signed. We know that the area of Judea is going to fall largely under Palestinian control. We know that the Temple Mount is going to be put under a sharing arrangement, enabling the Jews to build their temple on their portion of the Temple Mount, yet without disturbing the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. We know Jerusalem is not going to be surrendered by Israel. So we already know those things. When all the negotiations are said and done, you can sit and watch. God's word is going to prove true. I do not know whether it's going to be Netanyahu, whether it's going to be Donald Trump's peace plan. It looks like to me it is, but we got to wait and see. I don't know about those things, but I know for positive that the prophecies will come to pass just like they're presented to us in the Bible. And you and I, over the next 2 or 3 months, we may be watching these prophecies right now. Julia, thanks a lot. I'm up against a break, so I'm going to let you go. We'll be right back.
Many Christians admit end-time Bible prophecy is very complex and difficult to understand, and for some, a little bit scary. But what if you could understand Bible prophecy? What if you could know what will happen and how the United States will play a key role during end-time events? When you call today and get Understanding the End Time DVD curriculum, you can have peace about what is to come while understanding the prophetic events that appear in our headlines every day. When you call or go online to endtime.com and order, you'll learn the answer to the biggest prophecy question of all. Will the rapture take place, and when will it happen? This 14-part DVD series is the definitive end-time prophecy Bible study available. And for this limited time, you can get it for just $149. Don't miss this special offer. Understanding the End Time. Call now, 1-800-363-8463. That's 1-800-END-TIME. Or go to endtime.com today.
You know, I've been talking about this peace agreement that's going to be signed. I've been talking about it a long, long time. It's in a prophecy from Daniel chapter number 9, verse 24 through 27. It's called Daniel's 70 Weeks Prophecy. That prophecy is divided up into 3 segments. A 49-year segment that was triggered by the commandment to rebuild the Jewish temple, which was the second temple that was to be built. And then there's another segment, which is 434 years, culminating with the appearance of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. And then the last segment is a 7-year segment, which has not started yet. It will start with the confirmation of the covenant. The confirmation of the covenant will be when the Antichrist and many of the world leaders, the world's nations, will say, we acknowledge that Israel has a right to exist in her homeland. So Israel is going to be recognized as having a legitimate right to her promised land, while the Palestinians are going to be given their own homeland in the area of Judea, Samaria. So that's what's coming. And people are going to say, we finally got the peace deal. And the Bible says they will say peace and safety. So anyway, all that is what is happening right now. And we're watching it happen, but sometimes it's like it's moving in slow motion. It's like you're watching pouring of cold molasses. It seems to go so slow, and then it seems right on the verge of speeding up, and now then here we are. We don't know what's going to happen over the next week or month or so, but we know there's a government going to be formed here. If there is a government formed, and President Rivlin has said, I do not want to have another set of elections. We've got to get some kind of a government, even if it's a national unity government. There's a lot of pressure to put together a national unity government right now. If I were guessing, I would guess that that's what we're getting ready to see. I don't know that. And the Bible does not explicitly say that. All we know is there's got to be an agreement for Israel to enter into this peace document, this peace agreement that will trigger the final 7 years. That's what we know. The optimum scenario for that to happen is probably a unity government, because Netanyahu, even up to the last, the vast majority of Israelis said Netanyahu is most qualified to be prime minister. But we're going to vote for others because of this, this, and this. So if they could have their cake and eat it too, if they could have a unity government and Netanyahu could be the prime minister for the first 2 years, he could then, with his friend Donald Trump, they could implement this peace plan, and Gantz would be in the background agreeing with it all the time. So you would have the vast majority of Israel agreeing with what they're doing. It would be the perfect scenario. So if I were guessing, I would say there's going to be a unity government formed. Now, will Netanyahu survive, or will someone else come along to represent the Likud? I cannot tell you that right now, because he is under tremendous pressure. I simply do not know. But I can tell you what's going to happen as far as the peace deal goes, and I cannot tell you how quickly. Now, I know that President Trump would love to have this deal done well before the next elections. I'm sure he'd like to have it done by next fall at least. We know that Israel likes to do big things, especially concerning her temple, around September. The 9th of August is when they believe the first temple was destroyed and the second temple was destroyed. Would they like to sign a peace deal on the 9th of August of 2020 that would allow them to build their third temple and to reverse all the devastation done on the 9th of August with the first temple's destruction, the second temple's destruction? You better believe they would. And would Trump like to have it as a campaign issue a mere 2 or 3 months before the vote in November of 2020 for his reelection? You better believe he would. Do I know that's what's going to happen? I don't know what that's going to happen. Let's get back to our callers. From Facebook, Brenda wants to know, could Gantz be the Antichrist? Her father is from Romania, by the way. The answer is no. Gantz cannot be the Antichrist. The Bible teaches the Antichrist will come out of a 10-nation union, a 10-horn kingdom, and that 10-horn kingdom must be from Europe. So I don't see any way that Gantz could be the Antichrist. Another Facebook, Hilda wants to know, what will happen to Islam in the final 7 years? it looks like to me that Islam is going to be largely destroyed during the final 7 years, or at least greatly removed from power. How do I know? Go to Revelation 17. There you see a 7-headed, 10-horned beast with a woman riding on its back. That's a depiction of the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire. And that's going to be the dominant power, and that's going to be the kingdom of the Antichrist during the final 3.5 years. I see nothing about Islam there. Islam may be cooperating to some extent, or Islam may have been really reduced in power by that time. But Islam is not going to be the dominant force during the final 7 years. As a matter of fact, there's a war that's going to emanate from the Euphrates River, and it's going to destroy 1/3 of mankind. The Euphrates River is a 100% Islamic-controlled river. It looks like to me Islam is going to take a terrible hit. And, of course, all of you know all of the things that's going on up and down the Euphrates right now with the attack on 50% of Saudi Arabia's oil production facilities. And most people are believing that Iran is behind that in one way or another. Our President Donald Trump just upped the sanctions against Iran today. So things are building. This war could break out before we even get the peace deal signed, because the Bible does not tell us exactly what that order is. Anyway, that's where we are right now. All right, let's go to one more caller. Let's go to Maine. David is calling from Maine. Yes, David.
Hi, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, not Maine.
Pardon me, I got my abbreviations mixed up there, David.
It's okay, sir. I just wanted to find out, what do you think that the Lord would mostly judge us by the most? Like, when it, like according to like our sins, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I will tell you a scripture. It's Genesis 12:2. God said to Abraham, I will bless those that bless you. I will curse those that curse you. And I do believe that America is going to be blessed because we have been the best friend that Israel has. And furthermore, we have been a bastion of Christianity, even though it's on the decline right now. I hope it's on the decline temporarily. But given those two things, it appears to me that America is going to be looked on favorably by God, especially if we can get a couple of things reversed, like the approval of same-sex marriage, the approval of abortions. Those things need to be repented of, and we need to ask God to forgive us. But
exactly.
There are many things we're doing properly that I believe that God's judgment, the Bible says, here's the judgment with which I will judge all those that come against Jerusalem at Armageddon. In Ezekiel chapter 38, he outlines, I will plead against them with blood, with fire, with great hailstones. I do not believe America will be among those that come against Jerusalem at Armageddon. Mm-hmm. And we may even have a reason to believe that we will defend them during the Battle of Armageddon. So with all that said, it looks like to me that God's judgment will come upon those basically that are strong enemies of Israel during Armageddon.
I just want to say I like what you're doing out there. You're an amazing person, and you do a well job spoken word with the Lord and everything, and I love you to pieces.
Well, I really appreciate that, David. I hope you remember us in your prayers. That's what we need more than anything. So thank you very much for the encouraging words. And by God's grace, we're going to keep on doing this. I really have no choice. This is what God has called me to do. I said to my wife yesterday, we were driving along in the car, I said, babe, this Endtime Ministries has turned me into a slave. I go from one deadline to the next, from one broadcast to the next, from one magazine to the next, from one production of DVDs to the next, and I never really get to the end. But I said, I'm not complaining. I love what I'm doing. I'm so thankful that God has allowed me to do this work. So,
amen to that.
Anyway, I appreciate it very much, David.
Thank you. God bless.
All right. God bless you. Let's go now to Walt calling from Ohio. Hello, Walt.
Hello, Reverend Baxter. How are you today?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much.
I know you don't have much time. My question is quick. I have graduated Jerusalem Prophecy College and loved it. My question is, I have a lot of friends that are all pre-trib, and when all this starts happening and they realize that they are in the last 7 years and that tribulation didn't happen, do you guys have anything put together to where we can reach them and try to convince them, even though that it is a post-trib rapture? Thank you.
Thank you, Walt. We do already have available a DVD entitled When Will the Rapture Happen? And we go through 1 hour, step by step by step, the proof that the rapture is going to happen at the end of the Great Tribulation during the culmination of the Battle of Armageddon. Also, there are going to be many other things available. Of course, you've been through the Jerusalem Prophecy College. Congratulations, by the way. That's a great achievement. People are going through the college everywhere. By the way, all of you out there that's been through the college, go sign somebody else up today. Urge them to sign up, because we're trying to get an army trained so when this thing hits, people will know what they're talking about, and they'll be able to influence their relatives, their friends, their neighbors. So make sure you do that. But once the final 7 years begins, when people hear about that, some are going to believe and some are going to say, oh, no, we're not going to be there. We're here when that happens. But then when a temple starts being built, which will start within a year or two of the signing of the peace agreement, they're going to say, wait a minute, now the temple's going up. Could I be wrong? Then the Antichrist is going to stop the sacrifices and stand on the Temple Mount claiming to be Messiah and God, which is explicitly described in the Bible as triggering the final 3.5 years called the Great Tribulation. If you and I have been witnessing to them about these events step by step by step, if you don't convince them, that doesn't mean you're not doing good. Sow the seed, it'll grow. So anyway, that's the way I believe it's all going to work. I want to take time now to go back to our brand new product just out, because I want you to have your own copy. It's just going to be amazing. We've already had people just oohing and ahhing over it. The orders are absolutely pouring in. But this is our pre-order special to Revelation, the Unveiling of Jesus Christ, Volume 1. If you pre-order today, you will get a limited edition of our silver coin, minted especially for Endtime Ministries. It's got an engraving of the temple on the one side. It says, final 7 years, they that understand among the people shall instruct many. You flip it over on the other side, you see the American eagle, and you see the Star of David, and then below that it says Revelation 12:14, where it says the eagle will protect the Jewish people during the Great Tribulation period. I mean, people have been given an offering of $500 just for that. Well, you're going to get it as part of your bonus package, plus the book Skin Deep, the Miracle Called Endtime DVD, the ISIS and Bible Prophecy DVD, and also Understand the Endtime Introduction DVD. All of that for a mere $334, plus the 10 DVDs and my hardback book. Get all that. Give us a call. 800-ENDTIME is the number to call, or go to endtime.com/rev.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.